A malaria vaccine is now saving children's lives in Africa. New Jersey cut forever chemicals in drinking water by up to 55%. And in Gaza, two men built a library from books rescued out of the rubble. This is Chat Council, and here are 7 good news stories from around the world that you probably didn't hear enough about this week. Let's start with a medical breakthrough that could save thousands of children. For decades, malaria has been one of the biggest killers of young children in Africa. Every year, it kills around 600,000 people, and most of them are children. But now, we finally have real world proof that malaria vaccines are working. A major study published in The Lancet followed the RTSS malaria vaccine across Ghana, Kenya, and Malawi, the first 3 countries to roll it out through pilot programs. And the results are powerful. The vaccine reduced child deaths by around 13%. In simple terms, that means roughly 1 in every 8 child deaths among eligible children was prevented. Severe malaria hospitalizations also fell by about 22%. And this is no longer just a small pilot. Malaria vaccines are now being offered to children in 25 African countries. Malaria is not gone, but one of the world's oldest killers is finally losing ground. Pancreatic cancer is one of the deadliest cancers in the world, and the main reason is timing. More than 85% of patients are diagnosed only after the disease has already spread. By then, treatment becomes much harder and the 5-year survival rate remains below 15%. But researchers at Mayo Clinic may have found a way to change that. They developed an AI model called RED-MODE, short for radiomics-based early detection model. It studies routine abdominal CT scans and looks for tiny signs in the pancreas that human eyes often miss. In a major validation study, researchers tested it on nearly 2,000 CT scans that were originally read as normal. The AI identified 73% of pre-diagnostic pancreatic cancers at a median of around 16 months before diagnosis. And in some cases, it caught warning signs up to 3 years earlier. That is huge because with pancreatic cancer, time is everything. A cancer that is usually found too late could one day be caught while it is still treatable. Now to France, where a small price tag could make a very big difference. University canteens across the country have started offering 3-course meals for just €1 to every student. Before this, the €1 meal was mostly available only to students receiving financial aid, but now the scheme has been expanded to everyone, and the context matters. A student survey found that 48% of French students had gone without food for financial reasons. Almost 1 in 4 was skipping meals several times a month. That means this is not just about cheaper food. It is about students being able to study without choosing between lunch, rent, transport, and books. The normal university meal cost around €3.30. So, for a student eating at the canteen 20 times a month, that bill can drop from about €66 to just €20. Sometimes progress does not need to be complicated. Sometimes it looks like a full plate of food for €1. The UK just announced a major shift in its energy policy. The government plans to stop issuing new licenses for oil and gas exploration in the North Sea. And this is significant because the North Sea has been one of Britain's most important fossil fuel regions for decades. This does not shut down existing fields overnight. Current oil and gas sites can continue operating. But it does send a clear signal. The UK does not want its energy future to depend on opening new fossil fuel reserves. That matters because climate scientists have repeatedly warned that new oil and gas expansion is not compatible with global climate goals. And economically, the North Sea is already a mature basin. New licenses would make only a limited difference to future supply, and they would not protect households from global oil and gas price shocks. So the focus is shifting towards offshore wind, hydrogen, carbon capture, decommissioning, and clean energy industries. It is a big political move, and for climate action, it is a meaningful one. This next story is fascinating. UNESCO has launched the world's first global virtual museum dedicated to stolen cultural objects. And unlike normal museums, this one has a strange goal. It wants its collection to become smaller. The museum features around 250 looted cultural objects submitted by 46 countries. Users can explore them online through 2D displays, 3D models, and virtual reality. Some of the objects include a 2000-year-old gold bracelet from Romania, an elephant tusk from Cameroon, and an ancient coin from what is now Libya. But the most important room is called the Return and Restitution Room. That is where objects go after they are recovered and returned to their home countries. So this museum is not trying to collect stolen history forever, it is trying to make stolen history visible until justice is done. For many countries, these objects are not just an art piece, they are memory, identity, ancestry, and hopefully one day return. Now to New Jersey, where early environmental action is showing real results. PFAS, often called forever chemicals, are long-lasting chemicals used in products like non-stick pans, waterproof fabrics, food packaging, and firefighting foam. The problem is that they do not easily break down. They can stay in water, soil, animals, and even human body for years, and exposure has been linked to health risks including cancer, immune problems, and developmental issues. Across the United States, PFAS contamination has become a major concern, with new testing data showing millions of Americans are drinking water where these chemicals have been detected. But New Jersey acted earlier than most. In 2018, it became the first US state to adopt its own drinking water standards for PFAS. And according to Rutgers researchers, that early action paid off. Over the past 8 years, levels of regulated PFAS chemicals in New Jersey's public water systems dropped by as much as 55%. This is good news because it proves something important. Invisible pollution can go down when governments set clear limits and actually enforce them. And finally, a story about hope in one of the hardest places on earth. In Gaza, two Palestinian writers, Omar Hamad and Ibrahim Masri, have opened the Phoenix Library, described as Gaza's first new public library since the war began. The name matters because a phoenix is a bird that rises from ashes, and this library was built from books that survived the destruction. Some books were donated, some were rescued from damaged buildings, some were collected from the rubble. Together, Omar and Ibrahim raised more than $100,000, secured a location, and collected books from across Gaza. The library opened to the public on April 21, 2026. And in a place where nearly 90% of school buildings have been damaged or destroyed, according to the UNRWA, this is not just about reading. It's about refusing to let education disappear. Because when everything around you is broken, opening a library is an act of courage. It says, we are still here, and our future is still worth building. And these were some of the good news stories from around the world. We will be back next week with your weekly dose of good news. And for staying with us till the end, here's a cute picture for you.